The views expressed in this presentation are those of the host and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appendant body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brothers, we are at Refreshment.
I'll sit in the corner and look cool and be like, what up? That's me.
I don't want to talk about you either, Marty, but here we are.
Just because my style isn't death.
I truly regret this already.
I regret this.
The 10 of your faithful crest.
Oh man, it is great. I can feel this.
That's assuming anybody even watches the podcast.
The 5 minutes that I watched, I really did enjoy it.
How now, Brown Cow?
5, 4, 3. Welcome to the At Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Wesley Reuter. Let's meet everyone else. We've got
Will Anfeld, Elmhurst Lodge.
It just dawned on me. I could say no one's ruder than Wesley Reuter, and it would kind of make sense. And I'm suddenly
Oh, yeah,
dawned
I
on me
haven't
now.
told that before.
Oh, is this the first time? Hi, I'm Marty.
I love doing this show so much. I love these guys with all my heart. Hello, by the way, I'm Yoshi, Villa Park Lodge, number 1113, Shail Grotto, Keystone Chapter. I think there's a council and commandery in there somewhere.
Council, Mitzvah Commandery.
Yeah, and Temple Council, Shail High 12, soon to be Villa Park Eastern Star, and I don't know,
Tall Cedars?
Tall Cedars, Shail Tall Cedars, coming soon.
Any Saigots out there?
So,
Yeah, I got a pitch to join the Sides today. We get free Mexican food if we join.
I'm a member of the Science.
Really?
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, that's freaking cool.
the topic of this episode just
All right.
changed.
Hey.
Pyramid number 1. Yeah.
And our guest today is Adam Miranda. Adam?
I am Adam Miranda, current Worshipful Master of Calvin Park Willing Lodge, number 1075, Monarch of El Jala Grotto, and I serve in other capacities in Freemasonry as well.
All right, here's the thing. When he said other capacities, I'm going to tell everyone at home a secret here.
What's that?
If you listed off everything, every one of the things you're doing right now, this would be like a 2 VHS cassettes like the Titanic was back in the day. You remember that? Every time I talk to this guy, he's running something new. Aren't you running like a retirees club that practices ritual in the morning?
Yeah, I'm second VP for the Retirees Club. Yes, I am.
Don't you like work nights?
Yes, I do.
right.
Well, I'm switching over to morning shift.
You don't like sleep, do you?
Not much. I got that Kobe Bryant syndrome where it's like 4 hours a night because I'm focused on something.
Well, what's that saying? You'll sleep plenty when you're dead, right?
Yeah. Our whole fraternity is based off of principles about dying and resting.
Yes, they are.
Memento Mori,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very
I know
big
they
part
say
of
no
our...
skulls in Freemasonry, but that's...
Actually, there's not enough good things I could say about Adam and everything he does and everything he seems to do and how he seems to be getting tapped for everything lately. He's like the new affirmative action whiz kid of the whole Northeast area.
I think it's honestly because he's about 7'9", so whenever they need volunteers and everyone tries to hide, there's no hiding him. Hey, that big thing in the back? Yeah, I need you to be secretary.
Yeah, he
It's
looks
kind of
like,
true.
He looks like LeBron James's dad.
It's like they've been hunting for giants forever. Come on
Right
out to
here.
Illinois. We've got them right here. So,
The first time I met him, he asked me if I wanted a peanut. Princess Bride reference, if anyone gets it.
So, Adam, you're here to talk about AMD. So, first off, what is AMD?
Yes.
So, AMD stands for the Allied Masonic Degrees, and what they are, they're
It's not the awesome Masonic dude.
well, there are a bunch of awesome Masonic dudes in it, and you soon, hopefully in the future, you guys will be a part of the awesome Masonic dudes as
We
well.
already are.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
We just
okay.
didn't invite you yet.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, see how it goes? Yeah.
You invited me on the show to try me out. I get it. So they consist of a bunch of degrees that used to, at one point in time, be a part of the Blue Lodge. So this is actually an invitational research society that does have ritual in it and degrees in it.
Now, Adam, just to kind of clarify, when you're saying degrees that used to exist in, a lodge setting, is this was from the ancients to the moderns, kind of like when the Grand Lodges kind of normalized everything. These are the ones that fell to the wayside.
Throughout the process of time, yeah. So there are different variations of time. Some from like the 1930s, and even some over the pond, in terms of like the UK, Scotland.
So some of these are not. They haven't been gone for that to us a long time, but really in the grand scheme of everything's, maybe 100 years or just under 100 years.
Possibly, yes. So this brother wanted to make sure that the ritual didn't fall through and become extinct.
Yeah,
that's why he started this, the Allied Masonic Degrees, for that purpose.
You know what? And that's real respectable, man. That's honorable right there. You don't, the one thing you don't want is to lose that knowledge and to lose, some. I mean, if you really think about it, at one time these were important.
Well, they're important now.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Not that I'm taking away from these.
But at one time they were the third degree. They were the Royal Arch. They were
and for this brother to go on and do that and do and whoever else has put in the time and effort to save these. I mean, that's very commendable. And it's impressive. I didn't get to read too much of, but I thumbed through what you have on your tablet, and it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff on here. You'll have to screenshot it, send it to me so I can put it up on there.
So you can always look this up on the AlliedMasonicDegrees.org, and what I have in front of us is all the degrees on there. So Royal Ark Mariner, Secret Monitor, Brotherhood of David and Jonathan, and various of other ones as well.
I've heard of the Mariner one. Some of the ones you just mentioned I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
So they even has an explanation on the Royal Ark Mariner.
Oh wow!
Cool. So this is obtainable for anyone to see. You just go on AlliedMasonicDegrees.org.
Now, if you could back up for a second.
Sure.
Back up to the. Now, this one though, this one drew my eye the most, and it's the Ye Ancient Order of Corks. Now, I thought because for about a year or two ago, we had a prophet from the grotto. Me and him were talking, and he's like, "Man, I really want to get you guys into the Ancient Order of the Corks." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I thought maybe it was like till today, really, I thought it was like something like the Scotch and Cigar degree or the Turtle degree. Mm-hmm. But now finding out that it's an actual old degree, it's like, wow, okay, that now honestly, I really, really want to go through it.
Yeah,
but
I was under the same assumption as you.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Okay. We'll get to that. All right. So all these were part of the Blue Lodge, or were they part of the third degree or continuation?
So they're all part of the symbolic lodge in one shape or form. So they even our most excellent Grand High Priest in the sideline over there allude to Noah. Well, Noah was a main character in the third degree way back when, versus who it is now. And yes, I understood that analogy. I got you covered, Pat. Got you covered.
Did you say Pat Robin is in the studio audience? He came back 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, he came to see me, and I'm his biggest fan.
That is dedication.
He came to support.
Fourth week in a row, but,
that is dedication, considering he doesn't like us.
After that podcast, no.
Yeah, after that last podcast, that was wild.
I'm not sure that any of us have dues cards anymore.
No, mine like burst into flames in my wallet. Like all of a sudden, like my.
So does this technically fall under the purview of the York Rite?
Yes, because you have to be a Royal Arch Mason in order to even be eligible to be invited. So.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it's invite only.
Yes, it is.
So how do you feel about it being an invite only organization?
So I'm going to answer as unbiased as possible. There's a pro and a con to it, right? So we're always constantly saying as Masons we should watch the West Gate. Mm-hmm. We should have individuals that make the fraternity proud, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying that a brother wouldn't make the Allied Masonic Degrees proud, but what I'm saying is some individuals feel comfortable around certain kinds of individuals.
Right.
So there are some that are, they aren't researchers, and this is a research society. Some are just ritualists, Like, I'm a huge ritualist, but I also like to research what I'm learning as well. So that's why, essentially, I got invited. At least that's what I like to think.
Yeah,
I don't know the real reason why I
that's
got
a really
invited.
solid way to explain it. You kind of look at it as, each group kind of has its own personality, and you want to.
And it very much
the
does.
guys that you're bringing in kind of jive, and you're all looking for the same things.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Allied Masonic degrees are very unique in the sense that they have total liberty in how they run their council. So some meet in a restaurant and you just present a paper. They even give you like jewels or some type of achievement award for doing X amount of papers. Some meet even at the shrine or wherever they decide to meet. They have that liberty to convene anywhere they pretty much want.
So is there a ritual for opening and closing? Since you mentioned meeting at a restaurant.
There is.
All right.
Some do it better than others, or
Well, yeah,
a little
that's
shorter than others.
Okay, hold on.
It's like any
So
lodge,
okay,
right?
so
Yeah.
so in AMD there's an opening and a closing. What is it called? Is it called a lodge? Is it called a chapter?
It's a
Is it called-
council.
It's a council.
Council,
Okay.
okay.
Now, do you? Okay, because I don't know anything really about AMD. So are these? Can you get these degrees, or is this just studying these ancient degrees?
Right. How many of these have you received versus others that are in it?
It's a variation of both, actually. So
Okay.
some will just read through it and do kind of like a table session, read through the degree, and then what did you get out of the degree? And
Okay.
actually, when they do confer the degree, let's say you're the candidate, you go through, they stop at a certain point and go, well, this is what this alludes to. This is how the connection it is to our version of symbolic masonry.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So it's a discussion more about the degree than actually going through the degree.
Right. Instead of just receiving it, you actually are literally going through it piece by piece.
Okay.
There's Masonic Week as well in DC. They go through a vast majority of these, and they give you a bunch of information as well. I've yet to attend one, but brethren from all over the country go there.
Oh, Masonic Week.
Yeah.
So is it this is nationwide?
Yeah.
Or worldwide?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
actually, technically worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, so a couple of questions that come to mind, Adam. You kind of mentioned how each council is sort of empowered to run on their own. Like how big is the average council? And then also, if every council is sort of empowered to do its own thing, if I'm a member of one council, can I still go visit other councils?
So the answer to the first question is 27 are allowed to be members of each council, but you have 7 emeritus. So let's say a guy still wants to be in the books, but he lives out of state. Well, he could go emeritus. He could.
And then you can still have 27 active?
And you
Yeah.
can have 7 emeritus?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of assumed if you're one of the 27 of that council, like expectation is you're showing up, you're active, you're doing stuff.
Yeah, ideally, yep. My council in particular meets quarterly, so you should show up. And I currently serve as junior deacon for my council.
Okay. So out of the 27 members, do all 27 show up? Or
Life happens. It's not.
Right,
We
right.
wish that all of our members would show up,
so
but
Look, we all wish all our
Yeah.
members would show up. To
I don't
everything.
know, because the way he explained it. So after time, if you don't show up, do you fall into that emeritus?
Yeah, kind of if
I think it depends on the individual companion. We don't want to, because life does happen.
Right.
Let's say you go, there's such thing as like seasonal depression. Somebody gets depressed during the winter, and you're not showing up for 2-3 meetings. Well, we're not gonna just strip away your
You
membership.
can use that as an excuse.
There is such a thing. There is.
I don't have to
I
drive to
learned. I
Snow
learned
to
that
go to
from.
masonry?
I learned that from a brother actually. That there is such thing, seasonal depression. It doesn't come out during the winter.
There is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is the first time the 27 is referenced? I feel like that's in council degrees, correct? The first time you hear 27?
There's a connection.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there is a connection there.
Is it something you can explain or no?
Some of these degrees come from the original super excellent master degrees, and some of these degrees come from the Scottish Rite itself. So they're a variation of different
there
things.
were many
yeah,
degrees out there for the Scottish Rite, and then they lowered them. It wasn't always 32 or 33. So
Yeah.
I do remember.
So we just had the super excellent master degree at West Suburban Council, and Kevin Wheeler decided he's going to do a research paper on the origins of this thing. Well, he found out that it used to be a Scottish Rite degree that was almost let go, and a brother decided to preserve it. So kind of the same story here with the Allied Masonic Degrees. And we are currently preservers of our work as we know it now. If we lose ritualists, we lose the work.
How many councils are in Illinois?
I don't know the number offhand. You should have texted me that question. I know a new one was formed recently, and RJ is a member of that, and that's how I know about that. And then there's Illuminati Council. No reference to the actual Illuminati.
Yeah, I know.
There's an Illuminati council?
Yeah. Maybe we should all join. They meet at Medina, and Charlie Bremner, who you know very well.
Love Charlie.
He's a member of that, as well as Kevin Wheeler. So
I believe I've got a feeling there's about 16 or so councils that are currently in AMD.
Yeah, 16-ish. Thank you, Pat.
Now, one of the coolest things that I've heard about AMD is this is one of the bodies where both Grand Lodges are technically intermingled, correct?
For the most part, yeah.
Because you could have Prince Hall and we're 4-letter in Illinois, they're 3-letter. But we're all, everyone could be in the same room, same lodge, and not visiting. Like, we're there together.
Indeed, yeah.
Cool.
There are
That's
members of
cool.
Prince Hall.
Okay.
That's kind of where I got the idea from to try to instigate the whole grotto thing. It came from the Allied Masonic Degrees.
Okay.
So one of the questions was, how did an betterment made it a better for my Masonic journey? And that's it right there, is the fact that through the Allied Masonic Degrees I came up with this idea, kind of stole it essentially. And what does Pat say? What do you talk about stealing ideas?
What other sign are you holding up?
I was going to say, actually, the Society of Rosicrucian College is the same with the Prince Hall of Grand Lodge. But
We're not up there. We're not up there.
put that up, but good artists create, great artists steal.
What he said. So that's what
I'm not on microphone, so you have to look.
good artists create, better artists steal.
Great artists steal.
Great artists steal. So I am a great artist.
Tell that to Milli Vanilli.
Ooh, I love you. So,
we're old.
Yeah, I didn't catch that reference.
it's all right.
Sorry,
you know.
bro.
We're showing our age. It's all right, you know.
Sorry, bro.
And stuff. How do you? How has being a member of AMD Council helped you grow Masonically?
So they made researching kind of fun, and they also put a heavier burden on me in the sense of being a ritualist. I have to make sure I help preserve our work currently. Jerry Starks also does that, but we won't talk about that. It helps me to realize that there are certain brethren that are called for certain things. Not everyone can be a ritualist. Not everyone can be the social butterfly. Like I look to Party Marty to be my social guy everywhere I go, right? Because I don't, as big as I am, I don't approach every brother the same way. I try to.
No, you can't. Everybody's
I watched
different.
you break dance at a Mexican restaurant once.
Wrong tall Puerto Rican. Anyway. But
I'm an island boy.
right, and I actually joined this first before I joined like the Illinois Lodge of Research and other research societies.
And does this coincide with Illinois Lodge of Research? Because the few members I have talked to that are AMD are also Illinois Lodge of Research. That's why I asked.
They're all research guys. You'll find normally throughout Masonry you find the same circle of guys everywhere. They're kind of conducting all the same work. I mean, look at chapter, right? When you go to a chapter day, you see Jerry Starks in the sideline prompting everyone, right? The same thing kind of goes with the research guys. We would love newer Masons to come on board, or even some of the guys who have been around a while who haven't taken a crack at researching to do it. And
Now, what kind of research do you mean? Just researching the degree that they give you the research, or something specific?
so each council would have someone one of the members write a paper on something that has to do with Masonry. Either it could be like an actor that was a Mason, it could be a degree that used to exist.
So is doing your paper part of getting in and being like a part of it, or?
For some councils, yes.
Okay, that's cool.
For some councils, yes. My council, I've yet to even give a paper because I have Tommy Boyle, Frank Welter, and all these guys who have been in Masonry for a while that love doing it. And they just give the papers all the time, and we meet quarterly, so I haven't had the opportunity. But I have a few lined up.
Good.
Well, it's quarterly. That's not bad. And,
Just one night. Just
One-
one.
one
Just
night
one
a
night a
month.
month.
Yeah, one night.
One night a
I'll say
month.
the same one night a
one
month.
night a quarter. One night a month.
That's how it starts.
You just need to devote one night a month for every body that you're in.
It has turned to 20 nights a month for me.
For
That's
you.
it. Well, you got plenty of free time.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much free time on your hands. Gosh, we had to get you up to 30. So
Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, those are rookie
you gotta bump
numbers.
them up.
I'm at
Yeah.
14 days a month right now. I just counted.
Yeah, I'm a member of 5 lodges currently. That's just Blue Lodge, and I serve in all 5 of them.
you're in 5 blue lodges?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, I serve in 4 of them, not all 5.
Soon to be 5, though, right?
No.
Adam's the hardest working guy in all of Masonry.
No.
Yeah.
He's paving the way.
Are you in the shrine too?
Yeah, I joined at the Grand Masters Festival.
Okay, I remember you asking about that. Okay. Wow. So, how did you get invited to join AMD?
So when I was newly raised, I was invited to a 3rd degree. And I'm not going to say which lodge because they're predominantly notorious for being awful at 3rd degree. So I'm not going to mention which lodge it is. But,
It's not mine or ours.
right.
Oh no, we know which one.
So I was invited.
Did this
and
lodge ask you for a dues card when you got there?
no, I don't go to that lodge anymore. I'll never go ever again.
Oh, so you can mention her name now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, this lodge, I'm cool. I'm cool with some of the guys, so I would help them anytime. But I went in as a newly made Master Mason. I barely went through the book, and they invited me to do a lecture. I ended up giving 3 that night, and I also pretty much prompted the entire degree. So after that, they invited me. They said, you have an appreciation for ritual. We'll see what else you can absorb.
You know words and we don't.
Yeah.
So can you come hang out?
I
with
mean,
us
pretty
but
much.
again, like we've talked about plenty of times, it's once you are known to do something.
It's the best and worst thing that can happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
better
it
love
is.
the part that you memorized.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's more than just ritual though in Masonry, because you're Kelvin Park, right? You're the master right now.
Yeah.
I believe there's a story of one of your members happened to mention out loud he was a CPA, and someone was like, "Great, you can be treasurer."
Yep. So that's Mike Alfarevic. His dad is Jay Alfarevic.
Who was my intender?
Right, and who was about to, at some point,
He's Chief Raban right now, I believe, so he'll be Potentate of Medina next.
and he's also a member of my chapter. So I met Jay before I met Mike. I met Mike when he petitioned. And I put 2 and 2 together. I said, oh, I think they're related somehow. So I had to hide it from Jay that his son was about to be a Mason until that very day when I invited him to the temple and he saw his son get initiated.
Oh, that feels like a story on its own we should cover in a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does your son become a Mason and you have no idea?
You know what though?
Find
Yeah,
out next
that
week.
should be a show that he or a story that he
Both
should
of them
tell.
should be on, yeah.
Both
Yeah.
of them should be on. So that's something we should think about.
I'm actually trying to convince Mike to become a companion so he can help out with the auditing for Grand Chapter. Charles asked me to do that.
You were just asked. All right. So with that, we're gonna have to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back.
All right, everyone, we are going to switch things up on you here at Refreshment. The second half of the show is going to be presented to you by Brother Justus Fisher of the Modern Working Tools, and you can see the Modern Working Tools episodes here on YouTube. Brother Justus is an Illinois Mason and a brother of many appendant bodies within Freemasonry, and one of those bodies is AMD. So please continue to listen, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello, I'm Brother Justus Fisher, your host for Modern Working Tools, today's tools for the modern Freemason, and I have a very special episode. This is a collaboration with the brethren at the Refreshment video podcast that they have over there. They reached out, they wanted me to contribute a little piece on the Allied Masonic Degrees. So I'll publish this on my account, on my channel, and also provide it to the brethren at Refreshment for their viewers. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this presentation. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Allied Masonic Degrees, a little bit of the backstory and the history here. Upon your Masonic journey, after being raised to the sublime degree, you may get invited to join other Masonic bodies to further enhance and expound upon the lessons in the original 3 craft degrees. Note, Master Mason is the highest honor of our fraternity. Anything considered to be of higher rank is merely a sequential reference and has no correlation whatsoever to a Mason's status or rank within the organization. And, not one person speaks for the fraternity, so. I would like to briefly talk about one of my favorite Masonic bodies, the Allied Masonic Degrees. Considering the 130th anniversary of the original Grand Council was just a few weeks ago. The Allied Masonic Degrees were originally formed in the UK 130 years ago on January 14th, 1892, as a preservation body to house detached degrees from modern regular Freemasonry. For context, various side degrees housed under different branches of Freemasonry being at risk of becoming lost to the annals of history during a time when various Grand Lodges were starting to form in the UK and parts of Western Europe. The Grand Lodge's set aim was to standardize the ritual workings and degree structure of what we know today as modern Freemasonry. As you could tell by this photo here, you see a more structured and seamless chain of degrees comprised of different bodies. As you can see, the Scottish Rite kind of reminds me of Harry Potter and the School of Hogwarts, how it's broken up into different schools there. Very similar, but yeah, the Masonic fraternity had a lot of trouble figuring out what degrees they wanted to keep, which ones they didn't want, structuring the order of the degrees. It was very difficult. On this next photo here, this is a photo of various invitational Masonic bodies. So once you become a Master Mason or once you become a member of the Royal Arch, you could potentially get invited to join a plethora of Masonic invitational orders here. And basically what an invitational order is, it's an order that you get invited to join, and then once you get invited, you have access to a series or set of degrees within each separate organization. And these degrees are degrees that didn't fit into the mainstream Masonic system. So as a preservation attempt, we decided to, put together a council and, form a body and keep it kind of, obscure and just as an invite, because, these are such small organizations. They only meet, either quarterly or a few times a year. So the reason that they are invitational is, these orders are not very big, very small, but they store some of these detached degrees that would have been lost otherwise without a proper home to put them in. Hence why, we have a big plethora of these invitational orders to preserve these lost degrees. AMD is invitational with the prerequisite of having gone through the Royal Arch degree in the York Rite. However, to start a new council is relatively easy, given any member of an already existing AMD council can have 5 Royal Arch Masons accompany his dispensation petition. Unfortunately, not every single degree could be housed under the Masonic umbrella. Some of the lesser known and more obscure degrees had no real home or legitimate Masonic body to work them. Some of these odd side degrees were so old and they didn't even have written records of their history or the actual ritual pertaining to the degrees. Before the formation of the Grand Lodge system, the craft was in disarray with various competing Masonic rites and traveling Masonic degree peddlers. The sense of confusion undoubtedly overwhelmed the senses of the Masonic historians that tried to piece together the larger mosaic that is Freemasonry as we understand it to be today. The issue of regularity was very important to the Grand Lodges of the time and to the formation of the Grand Council. Now, the cluster of degrees included in AMD are the following. You have the Royal Ark Mariner degree, also known as the Ark and Dove. So in Freemasonry, there's two legends, the Hiramic and the Noah legend. In the earlier days of Freemasonry in the UK, it's most common to have the Noah legend, but then the rituals get changed, and as they bring them to the United States, you start to see a lot of the Hiramic legends pop up in Freemasonry, various jurisdictions and whatnot. So the Royal Ark Mariner or Ark and Dove degree, it has that very old Noah allegory, that backstory. And it is said that when the founding fathers of the country became Masons in the colonial states, they were practicing this Noah legend to their degrees. So the AMD preserves this old version of the Master Mason's degree, and I think they're putting it on a Masonic Week this year coming up soon. So yeah, very interesting, very, very interesting. It's similar to the Hiramic legend, but there's a strikingly difference. There's a difference in the ritual. The Noahide legend, you have this allegory of, building the ark, also, rebuilding society after the Great Flood and rebuilding man. So it's very interesting. The Hiramic legend is, building the temple, the lost word, rebuilding the temple after it gets destroyed, things like that. Similar, but some striking differences as well. They have the Secret Monitor degree, the Knight of Constantinople degree. It's a cool degree about how Constantine the Great founded an order of chivalry, and he only conferred this degree among the common soldiers, among the ranks and file of his army, as a way of humbling his subordinates and bringing a sense of togetherness among the constituents, and announcing that he would, quote, only show his favor to the Knights of Constantinople and commanded them to be put to instant death for any member of the order who would not acknowledge all men to be equal, end quote. You have the St. Lawrence the Martyr degree, the Architect degree, Grand Architect, Superintendent, Grand Tyler of Solomon, Master of Tyre, and then you have the Red Branch of Erie, and then Ancient Order of Corks. So this is sort of like an honorary or a emeritus degree for members of AMD who have put in work, who've really dedicated to the body. This is sort of like the cherry on top, so to speak. This remote order, known as the Red Branch of Erie, is said to be derived from a very ancient order in Ireland, consisting of Freemasons, and said to have been erected and patronized by the King of Ireland. For it is claimed that in early times of Erin, also known as Ireland, it possessed a literature and history equal to that of the most highly developed of ancient nations. The Red Branch is conferred for members of AMD for service to their council and has 3 tiers of level based on merit. You have the Excellent Master degree, which was, first conferred by Raymond Shute when he brought it over on 200 chapter Masons. The Order of Secret Monitor, you have the Sovereign Master degree, and then AMD in the UK, they get some extra degrees as well. You get the Grand Tylers of Solomon, Red Cross of Babylon, Grand High Priest. Again, these are only worked in the UK though. Some of these degrees are really philosophical, with lessons on spirituality and morality, with a little hint at the esoteric side of Freemasonry. These degrees contain a lifetime of research because of the rich symbolism contained within these old side degrees. AMD encourages the seeker to dig deeper within the lessons and the allegory of the rituals. AMD comes to the United States. On April 16th, 1932, in Salisbury, North Carolina, James Raymond Shute II, accompanied by 3 councils under the auspices of the Supreme Grand Royal Arch Chapter in Scotland, proposed to have control of the Allied Masonic Degrees in the United States. Prior to that, in 1930, quote, J. Raymond Shute II in Monroe, North Carolina, secured permission from the Grand High Priest of the Grand Royal Arch Chapter of North Carolina to confer the degrees of Excellent Master, which was worked in Royal Arch chapters in Scotland. In the spring of 1931, His Lordship, the Earl of Cassilis, first Grand Principal of the Supreme Grand Royal Arch Chapter of Scotland, granted dispensation for the degree to be conferred in the Grand Royal Arch Chapter of North Carolina. It was conferred on about 200 Royal Arch Masons at Asheville, North Carolina on May 12, 1931. The degree received with such enthusiasm and speculation, the advisability of securing the degree together with other degrees controlled by the Grand Council of Scotland was discussed, with the idea of placing them within the body of a separate organization. The matter was discussed with the Grand High Priest of North Carolina and the General Grand High Priest of the General Grand Chapter of the United States. They both gave assurances that there will be no objection to such a move, and the Supreme Grand Royal Arch Chapter of Scotland also agreed to entertain applications for 3 groups to be formed in North Carolina for dispensations and charters for the specific purpose of founding a Grand Council of Allied Masonic Degrees to control these and other detached Masonic degrees not controlled or conferred in the United States. Charters were granted at the annual meeting of the Supreme Grand Royal Arch Chapter of Scotland on March 21st, 1932. Source for that, Masonic Organizations by Harold Voorhees, page 58, 1952. Brother Shute came from a very prominent family in North Carolina and was a very learned scholar on the subject of Freemasonry. All members of AMD can thank Brother Shute on his zeal for fraternity. Without him, AMD in the United States probably wouldn't exist at such a large scale or, be as popular as it is today. Now, before I get into like the full story of AMD, there is like a side story that is crucial. At the moment, I don't have a lot of information about this group, but I can tell you a little bit about them. So when Shute was starting to form the Allied Masonic Degrees, he realized that there was another group in the United States that were already working some of these degrees in AMD already. So an earlier group in the late 1800s decided to pull together different Freemasons. Some of them might have had the authority to work an occasional degree, another degree here and there, this person, that person. So they decided to bring these people together and kind of bring these degrees together. So Raymond Shute was really excited to learn about this group in the United States because, they weren't very active. And by the time Shute came along, this group was defunct, and he absorbed them into the Allied Masonic Degrees. So let me talk a little bit about this side group already. The Sovereign College of Allied Masonic Degrees and Christian Degrees for America was formed on January 14th, 1892 in Richmond, Virginia by 8 Freemasons, most notably Reverend Hartley Carmichael, born April 25th, 1854 in Dublin, Ireland. He was a rector of St. Paul's Protestant Episcopal Church of Richmond, Virginia, and these 8 men were in possession of 15 detached degrees, of which 13 were worked. Now, to what authority did they receive these degrees? I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring that out. But eventually, this presentation will be a research paper, and I'll probably post it or submit it for the AMD, newsletters that they have, or I'll just, post it somewhere else, or we'll figure it out. But that's still to be determined, how they received these degrees. But the degrees they had in their possession, the Ark and Dove, Secret Monitor, St. Lawrence the Martyr, Tylers of Solomon, Knight of Constantinople, the Holy Order of Wisdom, Trinitarian Knights of St. John of Patmos. Academic degrees of the college consisted of A, B, C, D, and E, and I'll name those right now. So they had, additional 5 honorific degrees. And these honorific degrees were considered by the order to be academic in nature. To what extent, I do not know. The prerequisite for these honorifics, I don't know. These are still yet to be determined in my research. But you had A, Doctor in Universal Masonry, B, Doctor in Masonic Law, C, Doctor in Masonic Letters, D, Doctor in Masonic Theology, and E, Bachelor in Masonic Law. So to make a very long story short, this order would go defunct by the time Shute came along, and Raymond Shute would end up absorbing this order altogether into the Allied Masonic Degrees of the United States. And I just had a conversation with illustrious brother S. Brent Morris, and he mentioned to me that Brother Shute was very happy to find out that this order was, kind of, becoming, almost an endangered species or what have you, and he was very excited to absorb these into AMD. You can see this next photo here is some of the local AMD here in our jurisdiction of Illinois. We're missing one council, and I'll talk about the missing council. But these are the councils that are currently operating in Illinois. As you can see, we stretch the whole state here. And a little side note, you see Cahokia and Little Egypt. These names are very specific. To Southern Illinois, for the locals there, a very strange place. You hear a lot of history, myths, and legends about the native peoples there, and burial mounds, and some person even reported that there was a portal to a lost civilization somewhere. There's all types of random, quirky little myths and legends about Southern Illinois. So it's really cool to see these two councils have, quirky names. Southern Illinois is also known as Little Egypt. So, and obviously the Cahokia Mounds, a very prehistoric site, native burial ground. So it's really cool to see councils incorporate the local history into their councils. The missing council is Edward A. Rund Council, number 571 in the Lake County area in Illinois. We are the 16th council in the state, the newest in the state. And I'll talk a little bit about our brand new council here. So, 16 councils in Illinois, and each council is permitted to have 27 members per. I'll talk a little bit about why I think that is, but so each council has 27 per. If you tally the numbers, that equals 432 members. Give or take, it's most not likely that all councils are maxed at 27. Some probably have way less, so that's just an estimate. It's probably floating around on the late threes, probably 400 if I had to guess. And, in the state of Illinois, in our jurisdiction, we're looking at roughly, 56,000 members in Illinois. So, pretty interesting dynamic to see, such a small body operate within a bigger, larger fraternity here. And why 27? I don't know. What I was told from, the Grand Master, Muhammad Yatim, was that, 27, it was meant to promote fraternal bonds, integrity. It was meant to promote bonding, trust with your brethren, the camaraderie, the fellowship. Such a small group, it's more intimate, you get to know each other more. It's definitely a smaller group. There is an exception. There's one other lodge. Don't quote me on this. I believe it's in California. But there's a council that's comprised of Masonic authors. To my knowledge, I believe they're allowed 9 members. That's one of the exclusions to the 27 rule. But yeah, every council has a strict 27 member limit. There is some council. There's some councils out there that they're doing this emeritus thing where to free up member space, they'll make you like an honorary, and you're still a member, but you're not in the 27. So some councils do that. I've seen, I've heard of some councils, bouncing members out for non-activity or what have you. I don't know if we do that in Illinois, but so yeah, 27, it's definitely limited, but I feel that it does promote a stronger bond between the brethren. So let's talk a little bit about my council, Edward A. Run 571. On September 24th, 2021, at the Medina Shrine Temple in Addison, Illinois, we chartered a new council to be consecrated by the Sovereign Grand Master of AMD. We had the pleasure of receiving the Grand Master, Muhammad Yatem, in which he initiated me and gave us our charter and explained to us about the core tenets of this organization. Sovereign Grand Master Yatem described the Allied Masonic Degrees as thinking man's masonry, end quote. Masonic Degrees was meant to be something that was intellectually provoking, a lot of intellectual discourse into diving into the symbolism of these degrees. You know, talking about a little bit about the esoteric side of these degrees, the philosophy, research papers, table reads of degrees. You're really diving in, and it's encouraging to think and ponder about the degrees. So I think that's what he meant by that. The aim of our council moving forward is to continue on with the legacy and tradition of the academic pursuits of Freemasonry, studying these rare degrees and performing them, as well as intellectual discourse expounding upon the symbolism and philosophy, as well as the history of Freemasonry. You know, moving forward, we're going to set the bar. You know, some other councils, they operate differently. You know, they might not meet all the time, or they might not do degrees. It might be strictly a supper club, or maybe they just do education. I mean, every council is unique in that regard, where it operates different. But this council was comprised of brethren who were pretty heavy in AMD, and you know, maybe they saw some things that they thought that they can improve upon, and so you know, they chartered this new council as a way to, as moving forward, setting the bar and raising the bar as well. You know, a lot of education, a lot of discussion, research papers, education events, guest speakers, table reads of degrees, actually doing the degrees, the live degree work. We plan on doing it all, and since we're starting this council, we can kind of shape it and form it the way we want, and we're going to be very selective and on selecting members that are really going to enhance the experience for all of us, that will bring members that will bring just rich intellectual discourse to the table and really provide the thought-provoking dialogue and the research that we need to continue moving the Allied Masonic Degrees forward in the state of Illinois. I'm really humbled to be a part of this, and thank you so much for our superintendent, Brother Robert Johnson. Thank you so much, and we're going to do some great things at our council. You can see some of the photos from our consecration. It was really great because after the consecration, you know, we talked, and you know, we had libations, and we discussed, you know, Freemasonry, the history, what we would like to do as a council moving forward. And you know, when we had our first meeting, it was really awesome. You know, I remember driving back home that night, like, wow, that was really cool. I can't wait till the next meeting. You know, even if you're driving like an hour away or something like that, I think it's worth it, because you're getting that intellectual discourse. You know, you're getting the meat and potatoes for your brain, all the pondering about Freemasonry and building with other brothers on the intellectual pursuits of Freemasonry is such a beautiful experience, and I think, you know, it really brings the brethren together. Now, for the AMD today on the national scale, here in my country, in the United States, every year in the Washington, D.C. and Greater Virginia area, there's an annual convention known as Masonic Week, where in conjunction with these other groups called, you know, the Grand College of Rites, the Night Masons, you know, Night Masons, Grand College of Rites, AMD, they're all a part of sort of a similar umbrella, because, you know, they all came together at the same time, from the same people that brought them over. So there's kind of a close kinship between these Masonic bodies. So in conjunction, these three groups, they get together, and they once a year, they have Masonic Week. And during Masonic Week, they put together these rare degrees live. Once a year. Some of them are rare, some of them are obscure. There's all types of events. There's social dinners, there's guest speakers that give intellectual presentations for the Masons there. You know, these awesome lectures. There's chances to get together with brethren and just network, and it's an awesome experience. I have yet to go. I plan on going sometime soon, but this year they're doing the Ark and Dove degree. They're going to put that on, and also the Red Branch of Erie is conferred at these conventions, so you can get your Red Branch there for your service to AMD. I think that's really cool. AMD is just a really cool Masonic body. What I love about AMD, it's kind of obscure. Not a lot of people talk about it. It's not something that's like insanely exclusive, but at the same time, people just don't know about it. So I like that, you know, episodes like this is pushing the narrative out there that AMD exists. They're doing great work. And if you want to get invited to AMD, you know, typically the protocol is, you know, don't ask to be invited. But we also want to see brethren promoting education, Freemasonic education. We want to see dedicated brethren giving lectures in their lodge, or taping videos like this, or writing research papers and putting it out there. We definitely want brethren to, you know, make themselves known, that they're interested in history, Masonic education, research, and if you put yourself out there, you will get noticed, and I'm pretty sure you'll definitely get invited at some point. But yeah, it's definitely not some you know, exclusive, you can't sit with us sort of thing, or nothing like that. These are really great guys, really great brothers, and it's just that there's not a lot of awareness about AMD. A lot of brethren don't make it known that they love research. You know, how can you invite someone if you don't know if they're a possible candidate? So, you know, if you want to get invited to groups like this, you know, be active, show up at your lodge, give lectures, you know, just really be in the field. A great start would be a research lodge. You know, I'm a member of the Illinois Lodge of Research here in my state. You know, show up to the meetings, deliver lectures, or, you know, submit a paper for the Lodge of Research, or the Lyceum, or the Illinois Freemasonry magazine, or whatever. Make yourself known, get out there, do the great work, and we will notice that. And who knows, you may be getting an invite sooner than later. So I hope you've enjoyed this little historical presentation on the Allied Masonic Degrees. Thank you so much for watching this. Shout out to the brethren at Refreshment. To all their viewers, thank you for watching this. Until next time, so mote it be. Thank you. I'm Brother Justus, signing off.